Hello. I knew something was wrong when Emma started coming home late from her project meetings, smelling of unfamiliar cologne. After 12 years of marriage, you develop a sixth sense about these things. The lavender scent I'd grown accustomed to was replaced by something woodier, more masculine. But it wasn't just the scent. It was the subtle changes in her behavior that truly gave her away. Emma had always been meticulous about her phone, but lately it had become an extension of her hand. She'd take it with her everywhere, even to the bathroom, something she used to tease her friends about doing. The screen was always tilted away from me, and she'd developed this new habit of stepping onto our back porch to take calls. "Just work stuff, honey," she'd say with that rehearsed smile I'd come to distrust. I run my own consulting business from home, which gave me plenty of time to notice these changes. The late-night texts that made her smile in that secret way. The sudden interest in going to the gym 4 times a week, always at oddly specific times. The new lingerie I never saw her wear. Each detail was a pixel in a picture I didn't want to see, but couldn't ignore. The breaking point came during what should have been a routine Tuesday afternoon. Emma had left her laptop open while she went to shower, something she never did anymore. The message notification popped up. "Can't wait to feel you again tomorrow. Same time, same place." From someone named Alex Mitchell. My hands trembled as I clicked through their conversation history. Hundreds of messages, each more intimate than the last. Photos I wish I could unsee. Hotel receipts. Explicit details of their encounters, time-stamped during those project meetings. I sat there, my world imploding quietly while the shower ran upstairs. Every memory of the past 6 months rewrote itself in my mind. Those business trips to Chicago, hotel rendezvous, the late-night office calls, planning their next meeting, the girls' nights out with her coworkers, all elaborate lies. I thought about confronting her immediately, but years of building my business had taught me the value of strategic thinking. I needed more than just messages. I needed irrefutable evidence. Not for myself, but for what would come next. I forwarded the entire conversation to my email, including the hotel receipts and photos. Then I closed the laptop exactly as I'd found it and went to my home office. That night, over the dinner she barely touched, Emma announced she had another late meeting the next day. "Big project, huge client," she said, not quite meeting my eyes. "Might run late again." I nodded, taking a slow sip of wine. "Good luck with the meeting," I said, watching her shoulders relax at my apparent acceptance. "I hope everything works out exactly as it should." She had no idea that while she'd been texting her lover upstairs, I'd already set tomorrow's events in motion. Sometimes the most devastating moves are the ones your opponent never sees coming. The next day, I worked methodically. First, I contacted my lawyer, sending him the evidence I'd gathered. Then I called a private investigator I'd quietly hired last week. He confirmed he was in position at the Golden Crown Hotel, Emma's favorite meeting spot, according to her messages with Alex. The PI had already documented 3 of their previous encounters, but today would be different. I watched Emma get ready that morning, noticing how she took extra care with her appearance. The dark blue dress that had once been my favorite. That expensive perfume her sister had given her for Christmas. Each detail felt like a needle under my skin. She kissed me goodbye, and I fought the urge to wipe my mouth. "Don't wait up," she said with practiced casualness. "This client meeting might run late." I smiled, nodding. "Take all the time you need." The next few hours were a blur of focused activity. I contacted our bank and initiated the processes my lawyer had prepared. Then I started making calls to Emma's family, her parents, her sister Jennifer, her brother Kyle. I was polite, controlled, factual. They needed to hear it from me first, before everything exploded. Her mother cried. Her father went silent in that dangerous way fathers do. Jennifer just kept saying I had no idea, though I wondered if that was true. At 3:47 p.m., my phone buzzed. The PI had sent photos of Emma and Alex entering the hotel. She was laughing at something he'd said, her hand on his arm in that intimate way that used to be reserved for me. Alex looked exactly like his profile picture, tall, dark-haired, wearing an expensive suit that probably impressed Emma. The kind of man who thought other people's marriages were challenges to be conquered. I waited exactly 1 hour before executing the next phase. I'd learned from their messages that they usually spent about that long together. My hands were steady as I typed out a mass email to our entire social circle: friends, extended family, colleagues. I attached a carefully curated selection of evidence: hotel receipts, time-stamped photos, select messages that left no room for misunderstanding. The subject line was simple: important update regarding Emma. Then I drove to the Golden Crown Hotel. The PI confirmed they were still in room 847. I had made my own reservation, requesting room 849, right next door. The hotel staff was surprisingly accommodating when I explained the situation. Some people still have a sense of right and wrong. I settled into my room and waited. The walls were thin enough that I could hear their muffled laughter, the occasional creak of furniture. Each sound was another brick in the wall I was building between my old life and whatever came next. I checked my phone. The emails had been delivered. Social media was starting to light up. Emma's phone would be buzzing with notifications right about now. The moment I heard her scream of rage through the wall, I knew she'd seen it. The sound of things being thrown. Alex's voice trying to calm her down. More screaming. I sat in my chair, perfectly still, listening to the chaos next door as Emma's carefully constructed world of lies imploded. Then came the pounding on my door. I opened the door to find Emma, mascara streaking down her face, still wearing that blue dress I used to love. Alex stood behind her, trying to look composed despite his disheveled appearance. The contrast between them was striking: her raw fury versus his attempts at maintaining dignity. "How dare you?" Emma's voice trembled with rage. "Do you have any idea what you've done?" I leaned against the doorframe, oddly calm. "I believe that's my line, Emma. 12 years of marriage, and this is how you chose to end it." "It's not what you think," she started, but I held up my hand. "Let's see. It's not what I think that you've been sleeping with Alex here for the past 6 months. Not what I think that you used our anniversary dinner as an excuse to meet him last month. Not what I think that you've been lying to my face every single day." Alex stepped forward, straightening his tie. "Listen, man, we should discuss this privately. Like how you privately discussed your encounters with my wife in those messages. The ones where you both laughed about deceiving me." I pulled out my phone, reading from the screen. "He's so clueless, baby. Probably thinks I'm actually working late. That was you, Emma, 3 weeks ago." The color drained from her face. "You read our messages?" "I read everything. The hotel receipts. The plans for your future together. That interesting conversation about whether you should wait to leave me until after your promotion next month." I looked at Alex. "Though I particularly enjoyed the messages where you assured her that your wife would never find out." Alex's face went pale. "What? Oh, didn't Emma tell you?" I copied everything. "Your wife Rachel received the same email I sent to everyone else. She's probably reading it right now." Emma whirled on Alex. "You're married." The look on his face was priceless. I was going to tell you." "Like you were going to tell me about the other women?" I asked mildly. "The ones you've been meeting at the Westbrook Hotel, while Emma thought she had you all to herself." Emma's hand connected with Alex's face in a sharp slap that echoed down the hotel hallway. "You lying bastard. I have proof of those encounters too," I continued calmly. "Rachel has those as well. Apparently, Emma, you weren't his only Tuesday afternoon appointment." The betrayal dawning on Emma's face was almost poetic. All her carefully constructed lies were crumbling, and with them, the fantasy she'd built with her equally duplicitous lover. Alex backing away from her fury, muttering excuses, was just the beginning. "The bank accounts are already separated," I told her as she stood there, shaking. "Your things will be packed and waiting at your sister Jennifer's house by tonight. I've already spoken with your family. They're understandably disappointed. The divorce papers will be delivered tomorrow morning. Don't worry, I'm not asking for much. Just everything you promised when you said, 'I do.'" Emma collapsed against the hallway wall, her carefully constructed world shattering around her. Alex had already retreated, mumbling something about needing to call his wife. The sound of his hurried footsteps down the corridor seemed to snap something in Emma. "You've ruined everything," she whispered, then louder. "You've ruined my life."
No, Emma.
"You did that yourself. Every lie, every secret meeting, every betrayal was your choice." I stayed in my doorway, maintaining the physical and emotional distance that had grown between us. I just made sure everyone knew about those choices. Her phone kept buzzing incessantly. Messages from family, friends, coworkers, all seeing the truth about their perfect Emma. She tried to scroll through them, her hands shaking. "My boss? My colleagues? How could you? How could I?" That's interesting, coming from someone who used business meetings as cover for hotel rendezvous. "I wonder what your boss thinks about you falsifying expense reports to cover your afternoon activities." I watched her face pale further. "Yes, I found those too. Submitted them to HR this morning." "You're destroying my career," she choked out. "You did that when you decided to mix business with pleasure. The timestamps on your messages match perfectly with those expense reports. It's fascinating how detailed evidence can be when you look closely enough." She slumped further down the wall, mascara-stained tears leaving dark tracks on her face. Her phone buzzed again, a message from her mother. The sight of it seemed to break her completely. "Mom and Dad," she whispered. "They'll never forgive me. They already know everything. Your father was particularly interested in the messages where you and Alex mocked their marriage counseling suggestions. You remember, when they were trying to help us work through our communication issues. I kept my voice steady, even as I delivered each blow. They're heartbroken, but at least they know the truth now." Emma's sister Jennifer had been trying to call her repeatedly. Now she sent a text. "How could you do this to him? He loved you so much." I watched as Emma read it, saw the moment she realized she'd lost not just her marriage, but her entire support system. Her family had always been proud of her success, her seemingly perfect life. Now they knew it was built on lies. "Your things will be packed and moved by tonight," I continued. "I hired a service, a very discreet, very efficient. They're at the house right now. Everything will be documented and photographed, so don't worry about anything going missing. Though I did take the liberty of returning those gifts you bought with our joint account. You know, the ones you gave to Alex." She looked up sharply. "You went through my receipts?" "I went through everything, Emma. The secret credit card statements, the hidden email account, the burner phone in your gym bag. Did you really think I wouldn't find it all eventually? I built a business tracking digital footprints. You left yours everywhere." Emma struggled to her feet, her composure cracking like thin ice. "What am I supposed to do now?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. "That's not my concern anymore," I replied, maintaining the calm that had carried me through this day. "You'll have time to figure it out while the divorce proceeds. Your lawyer can contact mine about the settlement terms." "Settlement?" A flash of her old defiance returned. "Half of everything is mine." "Actually, no. The prenup you insisted on? It has an infidelity clause. You were so concerned about protecting your assets back then, you probably should have read it more carefully." I watched the realization dawn on her face. "You forfeit your claim to our joint assets. The house, the investments, the vacation property. All of it." Her phone buzzed again. Rachel, Alex's wife, had joined the group email thread. Emma's hands shook as she read the message aloud. "I found his other phones. There are more women. At least 3 others, maybe more. He's been doing this for years." The sound Emma made was somewhere between a laugh and a sob. "He told me I was special. He told them all that," I said quietly. "Just like you told me I was the only one who understood you. Lies have a way of multiplying, don't they?" A hotel security guard appeared at the end of the hallway, drawn by the earlier commotion. "Is everything all right here?" "Everything's fine," I assured him. "My wife was just leaving." I turned back to Emma. "Jennifer's waiting for you. I suggest you go there directly. The house security codes have already been changed." Emma took a stumbling step toward me, reaching out. "Please, We can work through this. Couples counseling, anything you want. I'll do anything. I stepped back into my room. You already did everything. That's the problem. I met her eyes one last time. Goodbye, Emma. The door closed with a soft click that somehow felt more final than any slam could have. Through it, I heard her broken sobs fade down the hallway. My phone buzzed a message from her brother Kyle. Just read everything. I'm so sorry, man. If you need anything. I didn't respond. Instead, I sat on the edge of the hotel bed and finally let myself feel everything I'd been holding back. The anger, the grief, the vindication. It all washed over me in waves. But underneath it all was something unexpected. Relief. The PI sent his final report, confirming Emma had left the hotel alone. Alex was apparently dealing with his own implosion. Rachel had arrived with her own evidence and a police escort to remove her things from their house. Their carefully constructed house of lies was collapsing, burying everyone who had taken shelter inside it. I ordered room service, poured myself a drink, and watched the sunset through the hotel window. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges, lawyers, paperwork, more explanations. But for now, I sat with the knowledge that the truth, as painful as it was, had finally set me free. My phone buzzed one last time. A message from Emma's mother. We raised her better than this. I'm so sorry we're losing you as a son. I turned off the phone, leaving yesterday's family to face the consequences of their choices. Tomorrow would be the first day of my new life, and I intended to face it with the same clarity that had brought me to this moment. Thank you for listening the story to the end. Write your thoughts about it in the comments and do not forget to subscribe. See you in the next videos. Bye.